Hello. So want to discuss about site guest user security restriction, and this I think this video is going to be a little bit long. But that before that, the thing that's going to happen is like the Winter 21st release. It says that the guest user cannot have the edit and delete, view all data and modify all data permission anymore for any user like standard or custom object, right? So I'm here in the sandbox that you gave me. This is the class that is a web service class, here. And I'm not going to like see this class, I'm just want to discuss about the site and how can we like call a web service. Like I know two methods. One is like using internal user, its username password, and using connected app we authenticate, we get the session ID, and then we call the web service. Second is using site. With the site that we can like add the class here, enable the class from here, and then we can directly call the class without like authenticating anything, because the site is public. It does not need any login or authentication. But the thing is, in both cases, if the class is called from site, then it will use the guest users permissions and everything to like do things. And if it is called from an users like session ID, then it will follow that users security settings and sharing models, everything. So what I'm saying is that if I discuss this bit sharing keyword right here, which is used on the web service, about the bit sharing, that when we like submit our like package for security review, Salesforce will say that if that this is a like global class, then we should apply bit sharing keyword. What does it do? Like what it do is the bit sharing needs, if we do not apply the bit sharing, then what happen, the Apex code will run in system context, and the system's context means that Apex code has all, access to all object and fields. Object permission, field level security, sharing rule will not apply for the current user. So that means if the class does not have bit sharing on here, right here, then the class will run in systems context, and it will ignore all the securities, that even if the object is private and the current user does not have the right access, still the class can update the record. So what I'm saying is that if bit sharing is applied right here, and it is called through site, then it can only update the records if the site have access for that record, the right access for that record. And the guess that this web service can only read a record which like the site have access, at least read access. Okay, so that's what I'm saying. If bit sharing is on, then it will follow everything this profile have, like if this profile have permission, then it can do, otherwise it will fail. So let me show you how it will work. I have just tested all the possible combinations. The bit sharing is very important, because if we remove the bit sharing from the class, then it will run in systems context, and then it can update or delete any record. you know and the Salesforce says that to like always apply bit sharing for a class, at least that's global, because if even if we are going to use it on site, it can expose a lot of data, because there is no restrictions now. And when we apply bit sharing, then it will follow that user's context, which like used to run the class. If it is on the site, then it will like follow the guest users permissions. So I want to show the thing here. So I have created the web service, which is I already had like created this one yesterday. This is class is site signature manager, and the endpoint is signature update and all. So it got a post method which like create signature, or this should be like update signature. Technically, it's updating the signature record. It take the record ID and then all the like field and values as a map. So it update this, and this is called from site signature controller, which is the lightning components controller. And here there is two things that two types of things that I have done. One thing is calling the web service using connected app, and second is calling the web service using the site. Now, calling the web service using site, I will discuss two more points on that, but before that I want to discuss the connected app. So about the connected app, I have a user called, let me show you the user. So this is the new user which I have created today, and the profile is site access. So this is a custom profile which I just created just for testing purpose, and it got basically just one permission like account read, and then signature read, create and edit access. This is the only two access that I gave. And the second thing, the second profile is here, the guest user profile, and the guest user have similar kind of permission, which is like account read and then signature create and read and create. So I did not give it edit permission because we are assuming that in future signature, the custom object cannot have the edit permission for the site on the site. And the second thing is, even if we can give the edit one, the site can only have the read only access, right? What I'm saying is that if we come here sharing rule, sharing setting and sharing rules, you know that this is the sharing that rule that I had created, and you know that we can only give the read access to the site, so we cannot give the write access to the site. So calling a class from the site, the web service, it will follow these sharing rules and sharing settings. So I'm not sure how it will like how can it update the record that site does not have access or we will not have access. You know that the sandbox example that I showed is creating a lead, I think. So site can have a lead access and it can create a lead. Creating a record from web service is uh, possible, you know. uh, okay, let's go back and test the things that I wanted to show you. So this is a record, two records, signature 8 and 9. You will notice that, let me make everything blank and test this one. So the owner is new user, okay, and the second record is which is just 9, and its owner is Gaurav Singh, which is the admin right here. And new user is used to like um, call the web service when I'm using connected app. So if I come here, this is the Lightning Components controller. What it does is the first scenario, which is like this one, call Salesforce API. It's using it's getting the session ID, which is it's called the connected apps. It use the connected app to generate a session ID. It gets the client ID, client secret from the connected app, and the username password of the user, and then it generates the session ID for that user, and we use the session ID to authorize and then call the rest web service. Okay, so this is how I was calling using the connected app. And when I am calling with the connected app, and you know that I already discussed the bit sharing because I have already applied a global bit sharing right here. So that means the class will run in the user's context that invoke this class. If I remove the bit sharing, then you will see what happened. But I will show what will happen if this is the scenario. So this is S8, owner is new user, so that means new user have all access to do anything. Yeah, so it's updated, and now the last modified is new user. Okay, so you can see that it's saying the last modified is new user because I use new user's username and password to call the web service. So you can see what's happening here, what is happening here. And now I am trying to use, I am trying to with the second signature record, which is owned by Gaurav Singh. And if I go to sharing rule, the Gaurav Singh have full access, but the new user does not have any access. And on OWD, the sharing setting is private. Sharing setting is private. If this was public, then we don't need to like check the sharing, because then there will be no sharing button and everything because it will be public. So if I test this one, so this error you see, update failed, this is written from the web service. So that means the web service is called successfully, but this web service like is unable to update because the user that is used to authenticate the web service does not have the access. Okay, so this is failing. So you see the whole picture right here, right? I use the new user to call the web service, and this is an internal user, so admin can manage its permissions if they want to give any read access, write access for a based on their org, so that this is the case. Now let's talk about the thing that you asked me to do, like you suggested. And I already know, I a lot of times, most of the time we use site when we give we create a web service and give a third party to call our web service. But this is an issue, we cannot give a lot of things, a lot of access to the site, I don't know. So if I this is the simple code right here, and I will talk about the two ways to call the web service class when I'm using site to call the web service. So you see that in this case there is no header, there is no authentication code needed, so everything above is commented. Now let's test this one. Just clear the logs to see what will happen. So you know that this S8 and S9 can do not have the site does not have access for these records. Okay, even if I just made this one test, that it will make the sharing rule to run, and then it will give the access to the site, but that will be read only. So you know that site does not have the right access, and it will never in this is the restriction that we are working on. So if I use this one and try to modify, so you see this is the error. It says that insufficient access or read only. So this one is called, the API is called through site. You see this is our web service endpoint. This is called using site. Yeah, so web service is called. Right here it failed. It says that the it does not have the read access and all. So you know that what's happening when we call our web service through site. The site should have it should have the access to update the record, or delete the record and everything. So I think you understand what I'm saying. And now one more thing that I want to discuss is the bit sharing thing, right? So let's test the bit by removing the bit sharing from here. So I removed the bit sharing keyword from the class. Okay, and now test the connected app way that I was using, and you see that when I was using connected app, I was able to update this one, but not able to use this one, use this one, because owner was Gaurav Singh. But now what will happen, the class will run in the systems context, then it will not care about the sharing model and sharing settings and everything. So it will update the record. Let me show you. If I come here, yep, this is. So you see last modified in new user, it's modified, and it says last modified by new user, even though the new user does not have the access. It modified the record because now the class is running in the systems context, and it does not care about the sharing setting and everything. So you understand what happened. Now if I switch to the to the model where we are using site, not the connected app. It is the same thing. Now you knew that I already showed you that we cannot update the record using site web solution site updated. Yep. So you see the last modified by the site. Even you know that the site cannot have the right axis, it can only have the read axis. The class did this, it updated the record using the site guest user. Why this is happening is due to the sharing rule. This sharing, it make like apply everything, every changes, every security settings and everything, it apply, the class will apply everything right here. So if I come here and make one more thing that I want to discuss is this one. I just comment here, I am using HTTP request to call this class, you know, right? But even that I can make the, I can call this class directly, you know. That's what I was trying to say. Even I can make this because I'm on Salesforce, right? I don't need to like access a class using web service from Apex to Apex. I can just call this class directly right here, you know. This is possible when when this is like without sharing is enabled, but that will not like, that will cause a issue in future, I think, and it's not best practice. So let me know what do you think. I'm trying to like say that, say, in simple words, like if we like create a class and then put the bit sharing on, which is very important, I think, um, when we are working with like site, at least, because then everything is like public. In this case, this is a web service, so it can be called, it should be like the only way to call this class is to have a users for like access, right? So either it is guest user or an internal user. In both cases, if this sharing is on the class, then it will follow all the sharing model restrictions and everything of that user that is used to authenticate. So it can be a guest user or it can be internal user. So let me know about your thoughts about this one, because you know, I know that we can use the guest site user to site to like call the web service, but that is not like that does not make me sense, because the reason we working on the site, we are working on this component is because the site will not have like the read the write update access in future. So using the site to authenticate the web service is like the same thing. I'm not sure. Let me know, give your thoughts please, because I'm just, I just gone through a big possibilities, and I just showed you how we can like call the web services and all. So let me know. Thank you.